Oh boy, we've got a fun one for you today. Okay, I've got 6 different types of insulation on the garage door, and I'm putting these through a whole bunch of tests to give you every bit of information that you might need to figure out how best to insulate a garage door. We're not only going to talk about R value and what types of degree differences you're going to see between the outside and the inside, and we'll do that in as scientific a way as I can come up with anyway. We're also going to talk about what's the most bang for your buck, and even how much weight do they add to your door, and then how do you offset that to make sure you're not overworking your garage door motor. Now these are all factors that you want to take into consideration when working on insulating your garage door, so let's jump into it. Now, the 6 different types of insulation that we're using today, we're starting with gap filler spray foam. Now this is the great stuff that comes in a can, you spray it out and it expands as it sets. You've probably seen this before, and I used 2 different types on here, 2 different cans, 12 ounces each. I started with the big gap 3-inch stuff, and maybe it was because it was so hot, it was like 99 degrees in here, which is a little outside the range that it recommends that you apply it at. It didn't expand nearly as much as I was hoping, so then I had to use a second can of the smaller, like up to 1-inch gap spray foam on that. So between the 2 cans, I've got this thing all filled up, and then over next to that, we have traditional garage door fiberglass insulation. So this is vinyl front, it's fiberglass throughout, the pink stuff, and this is an R8 Owens Corning kit. And this kit, one kit will do about half of this garage door, so 8x8 roughly. And the kits come in boxes that you can buy at Home Depot, Lowe's, anywhere like that. They're easy to install, and they have these nice little clips to hold everything in place. And literally you can install each one of these in just a few minutes per panel. It'll go pretty quick. Underneath that, we have double reflective insulation. This stuff is really simple. Think of it as bubble tape with tin foil on both sides. It's really that simple. There's not a lot to it. And you can buy these in rolls of 10 feet, 25 feet, 100 feet, whatever you need. It's pretty thin stuff, but it does add some R value. And if you're not familiar with R value, the higher the number, the better. The better the insulator it's going to be. So R8 is the highest one we have on this door, supposedly. We'll find out. And this stuff is a much lower R value. Next here, we have the Owens Corning 1-inch Formula NGX. This stuff is the purple rigid foam, and it has an R value of 5 per inch. So it's pretty heavy duty stuff. We just have 1 inch in here because I couldn't quite get 1.5 inches to fit well, although I think you could pull it off if you needed to, and that would put you at about 7.5 R value, or the 2-inch foam core was definitely way too thick. So we're just gonna try some of this. It's just one solid piece, 1 inch thick. Similar to what we've got over here, this is 2-inch thick, but it's the cheaper non-Owens Corning stuff. This stuff is rigid foam, 2-inch thick. And then lastly, we have Mr. Fred's DIY insulated cells. I said DIY Fred's, but I think his channel is actually Mr. Fred's DIY. And so on here, he's got this really cool video. I'll put a link to it in the description, and I'm really curious to see how this compares to the other ones. Basically on this one, what he's done is he's put together a cell that has air insulation in the middle of it. So we've got a couple of sticks, and you can use honestly anything you need to as spacers back there, including 1/2-inch foam insulation. So we've got a couple of those back there, then a solid panel, and then you've got pieces on the outside, all 4 sides, kind of like a window casing. And then then you've got your solid piece, another gap, and then a solid piece. So there's a 1/2 inch, a gap, a 1/2 inch, and a gap. So you've got 2 air pockets and then 2 1/2-inch pieces of foam insulation in here, rigid foam. So it's pretty intense. This is a pretty hardcore little thing. And then we've wrapped the whole thing with foil tape to seal it all off as well. So I'm super curious to see how this one holds up. Now, the last thing we've got on here is just our control. I also want to find out what the inside temperature is when we're heating these things up, the same as any of the other panels. So we'll be able to give you an actual degrees difference, what temperature it cools things off, which is the option that we're going for right now. I don't have a way to do the wintertime one just yet, but we'll show you all of these for now and show you what the difference is between the insulated versions as well as the control. Now you'll remember I did say I have a few tricks up my sleeve, and I wasn't kidding. I wanted to find out how I could make this thing as hot as possible. And I'm not saying I'm doing this in the most high-tech way, but here's what I came up with. There we go. I've got a heat dish here and a heat dish here, both on high, pumping heat onto our panels. And then to make matters a little more interesting, I rigged up the parabolic reflector dish there. Does not come across on video how intensely bright that is. See how bright it is right in there, because this whole thing is reflecting the sun's rays right onto the door. So that should heat things up. We'll give this a try. Okay, here we are outside, and as you can see, I've got 2 parabolic heaters, and they're each facing directly towards the middle of one of the panels. So right here, these two are one panel, and then down there, those two are another, the top two that we've got inside, and they are heating this thing up. So I've got my Klein infrared thermometer here. So let's take a look and see what we get. So right in the middle here, we're getting high 160s, low 170s. Okay, say 171 on that one, okay? The other side, the main numbers we're gonna remember here are at the hottest 173 for the top one. Okay, now back on the inside, one of the reasons I put these papers up is because with infrared, and especially with a thermal camera, you might tend to get some reflection of light off of it, which will skew the numbers. So let's see what we get. All right, so right here, we're getting 90 degrees, pretty consistent, 90 to 91 right there. So at highest, we're getting about 92 degrees on this one. So 173 down to 92. That is incredibly effective. Now help me do math here. 173 minus 91 is 81. So 81 degrees difference. Wow, 81 degrees is insane. Okay, out here, so generally speaking, we're at about 96 here. So again, really impressive. So between these two, so this one is 77 degrees cooler, and this one we said was 81 degrees cooler. Wow, that's pretty good. All right, let's set up the heaters for these next two rows here and see how they do. So something funny about my garage is that I actually cannot park my truck in it. My truck is too long. This garage is not that big, and it's kind of frustrating. So that's pretty annoying. But speaking of my truck, and I promise this is 100% not sponsored. I'm earning absolutely nothing from this, not commissions, not money, not anything. I heard of a company called Tom's Key, and what they do is they help you to program keys yourself so that you don't have to pay the dealership fees and everything. When I bought my truck, it was $350 at the dealership to get another fob and key. And I thought, that's ridiculous. There's got to be a better way. So I found this company that does it, and you can actually do everything from home. You don't even have to go somewhere to take it and get it done. In fact, they'll even do like this cool key by photo service where you can take pictures of your key and they will cut it for you and send that off right to your house, which is really cool. You can program the key yourself. If you can use a cell phone, you can probably work this programmer. And if you have any issues, they have a 100% money back guarantee. So really cool. Legit, when I say I did not get any money from this, I will not get any money from this. So I just wanted to tell you guys about what I think is a pretty cool deal. I did reach out to them and said, can you give my viewers a discount of some sort? And they said, absolutely. Of course, they were happy to do that. So they said if they spend $100 or more, they get 10 bucks off when they use coupon code LEARN2DIY. And the cost, by the way, for this little setup right here was just over 100 bucks. So 350 at the dealership, just over 100 to do it myself with Tom's Key. Obviously, this is a no-brainer. So if you're looking for that second set of keys that didn't come with your car like I have, or you've lost one, or just need an extra set, check out Tom's Key. Learn2DIY is the discount code, and it's pretty cool. All right, moving on to our second row down. Yeah, that's hot. 190. Okay, 190 on the second one here, and getting it right in the middle here. Okay, 175 on this side. Whoop. Wind's blowing our reflector around. 175. Now here's the cool thing. Check this out. Got my thermal camera out here, and man, you can see the number that this thing is doing. Look at this. Look at that ring of fire on there. Now these numbers, these two instruments disagree a lot on temperatures here. So this one's saying that right in the middle, we're at about 200. Wait, what is that saying? 262. Holy moly. So that's very different than what I'm getting on the infrared thermometer. And on this one, oh yeah, right up there, 225, crazy. Okay, just to show you that this is working, you can see right in the middle where that hot spot is. And then above it, this is pretty fascinating. Above it is where a lot of that heat is rising and moving towards the second panel. So there's a hot spot above right there. And we have the exact same thing over here. Okay, on this one, it was 175. We're measuring, going right in the middle here. Boy, it's moving around a lot, but we're somewhere between 100 and 105 typically, maybe just 100. Yeah, I'll call that 100, meaning that's a 75 degree difference. Very impressive on that. And then on our 2-inch rigid foam, this one, wow, much better, 93. Okay, so we went from, I think, what was that, 185 or something like that, down to 93. So a huge difference there. I'll put the difference on the screen because I have no memory. I'm like 50 first dates kind of guy here. So, but that has been super effective, especially compared to the double reflective insulation. So now I'm gonna move everything down one more row and we'll test it out on our bottom two. I'm very curious to see about the Fred insulation cell. Okay, we're down on the third row now. The last row, and these ones are getting way hotter for some reason. Check this out. Whoa, we are up at just over 200 degrees. We move a little higher, it gets even hotter, peaking out towards the top at 207, 208, dang. Okay, so 208 degrees on this one. Let's see what we get over here. Yeah, so max of about, let's say 205. 208 and 205 on these. Just one fun little thing. This is not sponsored in any way, shape, or form, but if you do, like my whole garage door was white and I thought it looked pretty ugly when we moved in. So I just bought these stickers that you can buy on Amazon, and then this black hardware for the handles here, and then the hinges and that kind of thing. So this kind of makes it look a little less boring. So if you're interested in something like that, I'll put links in the description, but just something that I thought spiced up the door a little bit from the plain boring white that it came with originally. Okay, I'm super curious here. This is the hottest panel we've seen yet on the outside, and this is the one I've been most curious to see, but this is Fred's insulated cell. Here we go, let's take a look. Okay, on the paper, we're getting 88. Wow, that is good. Remember, this was 208 degrees. So this has cooled it down by, help me with my math, 120 degrees. So 120 degree difference. That is bonkers. That is effective. Okay, let's move on to our last one here before the control. Here is the 1 inch. Not bad. Look at this, you guys. 1 inch, also down to 88, 87. So 88 makes it, that was only 3 degrees cooler, so 117 degrees cooler, and I hope I'm right on the math. Last, let's check out this guy. I'm currently coming in at 93, but let's heat it up and see what we get. Okay, our control has been heating up for a while out here now, so it's pretty consistent. Here we go. We'll call it 176 here. All right, on our control, on the inside, we're sitting at 156. So that's good to know. We do have a definite temperature difference from the outside to the inside, so it's not like it's a 1-to-1 here. So we'll have to keep that in mind. All right, call me super dorky, but I found that fascinating just to see the differences with all these, and I've got all the data right here for you to tell you what actually worked out the best. So the spray foam up here had a 45% decrease in temperature. It cost $80 to do a double garage door like mine, and it weighs 24 pounds. It adds 24 pounds of weight to your garage door, and again, we'll touch on that right at the very end about what you can do about that. Now, the fiberglass over here from Owens Corning, that was a 47% decrease in temperature. It cost the most by far, $236 for the kits, enough to do a full double garage door like this. And again, 24 pounds, same weight as the top one here. Now, next up, we have our 2-inch rigid foam insulation, this stuff here. This stuff was a temperature decrease of 51%, and it cost $69, pretty affordable, and it only weighs about 14 pounds. And then moving on to our double reflective insulation, I'll tell you right now, this was the least effective, but also the lightest and least expensive. So this one was 43% temperature decrease, $60 to install the whole thing, and it only weighs about 4 pounds if you're doing a single layer like that. It would be interesting to do like 3 or 4 layers and see what that does, and there's lots of variations you can try on these to see what works for you. Now, onto Mr. Fred's DIY Garage School. I got it right that time. That's his channel name. That one, by far the winner, 57% temperature decrease on these cells that he's created here. $71 for the install, so really affordable, and only 10 pounds of weight. That's the winner right there, I'll tell you that much. If we move on to our last one, this is maybe a close second. This one, 56%, just barely behind it. 56% temperature decrease, $86 to install the whole thing, and only weighs 12 pounds. So the other note here is this one is dead simple to install. I mean, it just takes like a minute per panel to do this one. This one's a little more involved, multiple steps, multiple parts, multiple pieces, and you just have a little bit of an increase there. So I think this one's probably still the winner. If you're looking for a faster version that's almost as good, I would go with this 1-inch Formula NGX. And I would also try 1.5 inch on that, and that might even take it over the top as far as the effectiveness of that. Now, when it comes to adding weight to your garage door, it absolutely can impact the garage motor and wear it down a little bit more over time, and not something that you want to take that risk on, but there's a super easy fix for this. Really, the garage door should be working well as long as your garage door, the spring tension is balanced properly. So you've got your springs right up top here, and there's some adjusters that you can use, but I would not recommend that you do this. I would highly recommend that you call a garage repair person, a garage technician, someone who does this for a living. Have them come out after you've insulated your garage door and added that weight to it, and have them adjust that spring tension. It's a one-time thing, and ideally you're getting that garage door to where no matter where you leave it, it's gonna stay there. That's how you know it's tensioned properly. If you open it up halfway, for example, it's just gonna stay halfway. It's not gonna try to fall down or spring back up. So you wanna get that just right and get a professional to help you with that. When you do that, the spring is doing the work. Your garage motor doesn't have to. You're gonna add that life right back to your garage door motor, and everything's gonna be great. And hopefully your garage will feel a lot more comfortable and cool after you've installed that insulation. One of the next things on my list is getting cooling in this place because it is hot in here. In fact, I'm looking at the thermometer right now. It's 88 degrees inside here. Been really having a great time with this video. But what I'm gonna do is install a mini split in here, and I've done videos on how to do this before. I'm gonna do another one in just a little bit for the garage, the larger 18,000 BTU unit. But if you wanna check out the video I showed on how to install one, you can check that out right here. My name's Nils with Learn to DIY. Thanks for watching.